Trump's brutal crackdown on immigrants just took an even darker turn. Let me explain. ICE is considering hiring private bounty hunters to track down immigrants all across the country. And there's even monetary bonuses for how quickly they find people. Identify someone on the first try? Bonus. Identifying 90% of your targets in a set time frame? Bonus. Under this plan, ICE would give private firms bundles of information on up to 10,000 immigrants at a time. And if they work through those and need more assignments, the bundles could be as large as 1 million. These private sector bounty hunters would then surveil the home or workplaces of tens of thousands of immigrants and report their locations back to the government. And it's not just physical surveillance, it's digital as well, including tools that monitor cell phone location data. And it's worth noting that this plan closely resembles one circulated by military contractors, including former Blackwater CEO Eric Prince. How much the government plans to spend on this plan remains to be seen, but The Intercept is going to follow it as it develops. So hit follow for more.
A global hunger monitor has, for the first time, confirmed famine conditions in 2 cities in Sudan. Al Fasher, the capital of North Darfur, captured last weekend by the paramilitary Rapid Support Forces, and Kadugli, another besieged city in Sudan's south. The news comes as thousands of civilians continue to flee Al Fasher to surrounding towns. The circumstances became very difficult. There was no food, no transportation, and it was very difficult to leave home to find food or water. For me, my injury happened when I left home once with my container to bring water from the water pump. A random bullet hit me and my bones were broken. Thanks be to God that no one from my family was with me. Most of them were killed in the shelling. Fighting between the RSF and the army over the past 30 months has caused severe hunger and malnutrition to spread across Sudan, as well as displacing millions of people. But the UN-backed Integrated Food Security Phase classification has previously only confirmed famine in camps for displaced people around Al Fasher. During the 18-month siege of the city, residents said food supplies were cut off, forcing people to eat animal feed and sometimes their hides. The hunger monitoring group says famine is also threatening 20 other areas in Darfur and Central Kordofan region, where fighting has intensified in recent months.
China has taken another step in hypersonic weapons research, this time with a prototype missile. It is being called the shape-shifting missile. Why? Because it can change shape mid-flight. The missile apparently features a pair of retractable wings. It is not operational yet. Like I said, this is a working prototype. But the technology signals a new shift. Will this usher in an era of shape-shifting weapons? Our next report tells you.
Think aircraft meets transformer meets Mach 5 rocket. This missile can retract and deploy wings depending on what it needs in flight. Need raw speed? Wings tuck in with the missile slicing the air. Need agility to dodge defenses or hit moving targets? Wings flip out, turning it into a glide-dancing predator. In other words, this is a weapon that chooses. It can choose speed when it's safe or maneuverability when it's hunted. Until now, hyperspeed flight and sharp turning were mutually exclusive. But China may be rewriting that physics problem. You see, traditional hypersonic weapons are extremely fast, but not very agile. China's design aims to break that trade-off. How? By combining all of the following: hypersonic speed, high maneuverability, and unpredictable flight paths. This would make interception significantly harder. Current missile defense systems rely on predicting a missile's trajectory. A weapon that alters shape and course severely complicates that, and this wasn't an easy task. Changing shape at hypersonic speeds is extremely difficult. Temperatures exceed 2,000 degrees Celsius. The airflow becomes unstable. Moving parts create vibration and control issues. Flight computers must react in milliseconds. The Chinese team claims to have built a control algorithm, one that stabilizes the wings during repositioning and prevents destructive vibrations. It works in real time on onboard processors. They tested it using hardware-in-loop simulation, meaning real components and computer systems were used. So this is lab-tested. But think of it as proof of concept. The technology works in controlled conditions, but practical deployment will take some time, and it's not the only one. China isn't only experimenting with a shapeshifter, they're building a whole ecosystem, a prototype global missile defense platform. Drawing comparisons to Trump's Golden Dome, China is also testing sixth-generation fighter prototypes, the so-called J-36 among others. Like the missile, these jets are prototypes. They are impressive on paper, showing promising technology in trials, but not yet operational or battle-proven. And that is the reality of all of these ideas. On paper, this is a breakthrough, a missile that can sprint like a bullet, then twist like a fighter jet, a defense network that claims to watch the entire planet. Fighter jets experimenting with AI combat instincts. But here's the truth beneath the headlines. All of this is still prototype territory. No battlefield proof, no real-world stress test, no confirmation that it works outside controlled simulations and test ranges. So this shape-shifting missile may sound like science fiction, because for now, it is a glimpse of tomorrow, not a weapon of today.
Right, Shalom, giving all praises and glory to our power, Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shah, Bahasham, Rachak, Wadaj, double honors to the apostles, the bishops, and the elders of Great Millstone. Peace and blessings to the hopeful elect of the tabernacles of David, scattered throughout the four corners of the earth, wherever you may be, to you I say Shalom, Shalom, Shalom. Alright, we're going to get into some world news with commentary, which I actually put some clips together earlier, but I deleted it by mistake, but it's all good. Because we got a couple more here, and a couple that I didn't have before. So let's get into this first one. Well, these first two right here. The very first one though being this: ICE plans cash rewards for private bounty hunters to locate and track immigrants. Yeah, we've been talking about ICE. This ICE, like speaking of now, who was it? The Border Patrol was supposed to be stepping up to take some of the ICE's positions because they ain't aggressive enough, all right? And so now you got an article like this popping up. ICE plans cash rewards for private bounty hunters to locate and track immigrants. Companies hired by ICE will be given bundles of information on 10,000 immigrants at a time to locate. Okay, and this is dated October 31st, so not too far back. U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement is considering hiring private bounty hunters to locate immigrants across the country, according to a procurement document reviewed by The Intercept. Under the plan, bounty hunters may receive monetary bonuses depending on how successfully they track down their targets and how many immigrants that they then report to ICE. It reminds me of the dog bounty hunter show. Hell, I wouldn't be surprised if they would make a television show out of ICE. Okay, I mean, you got enough news on it. All right, some of those guys don't like to be recorded though. According to the document, which solicits information from interested contractors for a potentially forthcoming contract opportunity, companies hired by ICE will be given bundles of information on 10,000 immigrants at a time to locate, with further assignments provided in increments of 10,000 up to 1 million. Yeah, I think that's 1 million. That's a lot. The solicitation says ICE is considering monetary bonuses paid out based on performance. All right, so the rougher and tougher you are, and more skilled that you are doing your job, the more we'll pay you. The solicitation says ICE is exploring an incentive-based pricing structure. Yeah, the incentive is we'll pay you money, and if you're better at it, we'll pay you more. To encourage quick results. That's funny. To encourage quick results with monetary bonuses. All right, paid out based on performance. I mean, and what can you say? For example, ICE says contractors might get paid a bonus for identifying a person's correct address on the on the first try, or finding 90% of its target within a set time. This is like a video game, man. This is like a video game. ICE says contractors might get paid a bonus for identifying a person's correct address on the first try, or finding 90% of its targets within a set time frame. This is straight Grand Theft Auto. Okay, you're given a mission. Okay, man. ICE did not immediately respond to a request for comment. I bet they didn't. The document closely resembles a plan reportedly circulated by a group of military contractors, including former Blackwater CEO and Trump ally Eric Prince. I don't know who the hell Eric Prince is, but Blackwater rings a bell. Yeah. Look, somebody got the Christmas lights up and everything. You gonna have Christmas this year. The U.S. Wait, so what was this? It said read more. Oh crap, Eric Prince is involved. I have no idea who that is. U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement knock on the door of a residence during a multi-agency targeted enforcement operation in Chicago, Illinois. And so yeah, that's just the ICE raid. It comes to the house. What the hell? Okay, so let me see what remorse is. Alright, so click on that. Oh, it takes me to, yeah, this is why I found it from the Intercept. But I'm about to put my email address in. I mean, we pretty much got what we needed. Just did what it says here. Latest breaking news. ICE plans cash rewards for private bounty hunters to locate and track immigrants. They're not playing games. All right. So let me get the next thing. All right. So here's our next one right here. China's shape-shifting hypersonic missile aces Mach 5 test. Report claims Beijing widens tech gap with U.S. Now, I'm not going to read all this. I read all this article. Well, not this particular article, but I read an article earlier. I don't want to read it all again. I wish I could find just where it tells you exactly how it operates. Yeah, here we go. While in flight, the wings can retract and fold inside the fuselage, thus minimizing drag during high-speed cruising. When extended, they generate additional lift and significantly improve maneuverability. Furthermore, the degree of wing deployment and retraction can be finely adjusted to meet flight requirements. This enables real-time changes to the vehicle's overall aerodynamic shape and flight characteristics, a capability long considered the holy grail and the final frontier of hypersonic flight. Yeah, because what they're saying is, they can use shoot it off like a missile, and then have the wings where they can retract the wings, and so because that speed is hard to turn at certain angles. So if they retract the wing, right, it can take a turn that it needs it to turn. Okay, and it actually helps out with fighting against defenses, so it makes it harder to get shot down. I wish I had the article that I read before because it went into it better. And they gave some funny name to it. It sounded like a Moab. Let's see what else is here, so we can try to find a little bit more on it. According to the paper, the morphing hypersonic vehicle has successfully completed key hardware in the loop ground test, a critical milestone that demonstrates the vehicle design is not just theoretical but viable for real-world applications. High-speed morphing vehicles represent a cutting-edge direction in next-generation aerospace platforms, the authors wrote. By dynamically adjusting their structure during flight to adapt to varying aerodynamic conditions, these vehicles demonstrate exceptional adaptability across wide speed and altitude ranges, offering significant potential for multi-role missions and enhanced penetration capabilities. The author said that the novel design, which allows in-flight shape changing, offers significant advantages over traditional fixed geometry high-speed vehicles. Compared to traditional fixed geometry high-speed vehicles, morphing vehicles can optimize aerodynamic performance in response to complex flight environments, dramatically improving maneuverability and mission flexibility, because it can change course at a hypersonic speed in midair. All right, so that's definitely different. Foldable and retractable wings have been used in aircraft and drones for a long time, but not like what China's trying to do. I actually saw this article earlier, but I didn't want to read it because it was so long. The other article I saw was actually better, but that's not the one. Okay, maybe we'll get some out of this. Maybe not. Pretty much, I mean, you get the point. It's straightforward. All right, they got a hypersonic missile that they're trying to develop that can change flight in midair. Okay, China has reportedly tested a prototype of a morphing hypersonic vehicle capable of flying at speeds exceeding Mach 5 and changing shape in flight. And that changing shape makes it change its flight pattern at Mach 5 speeds. All right, so that's something different. And the reason why this stood out to me is because we just talked about recently Russia testing their what was it? I think what was a hypersonic missile? I can't remember whatever kind of missile it was, but it could stay up in the air for like 14, 15 hours, just kind of, linger around till they decide they want to drop it somewhere. And then right after that pops up with Russia testing a radioactive torpedo. Okay, and so we know China and Russia are allies in the BRICS nations, and they're making these weapons to use them on Babylon the Great. Okay, and we're going to get the same scriptures that we got earlier. I'm going to read this first. If accurate, it will mark a revolutionary leap in the design of hypersonic missiles that can not only fly at speeds exceeding Mach 5, but also maneuver in flight, further complicating their interception, you see, and hit highly mobile targets such as ships, aircraft carriers, and even stealth aircrafts such as F-22 Raptor and F-35 Lightning II. The missile features a pair of retractable wings. This groundbreaking design allows it to dynamically adapt its aerodynamic profile mid-flight, according to a peer-reviewed paper published in a Chinese journal. All right, so China ain't playing. All right, Russia's not playing, and no one else is playing. All right, uh, um, Babylon's the one that's lagging right now. Let me grab my book. So I wanted to get, what was the first one I got? I think they're both in Isaiah. Isaiah chapter 9. Okay, and 5. For every battle of the warrior is with confused noise and garments void of blood, because men will meet on the battlefield with their long swords, short swords, shields, bucklers, greave to greave, all right, axe to axe, spear to spear, bow to bow, whatever the case may be, and get very bloody on the battlefield. But this is talking about World War III, shall be with burning and fuel of fire. And as you can see, the greatest enemies of Babylon the Great, China and Russia, are creating some very high-tech things for this third world to use against, whoever, mainly Babylon the Great in World War III. For every battle of the warriors with confused noise and garments royal blood, but this shall be with burning and fuel of fire. And actually, we just jump over here. I was going to click on it. Jude chapter 13. All right. The noise of a multitude in the mountains, like as of a great people, a tumultuous noise of the kingdoms of nations gathered together. All right, all these nations gathered together down to the valley of Hawoshaphat, like it says in Joel 3, starting at verse 9. All right, Zephaniah 3 and 8. My determination is to gather the nations. Okay, so a tumultuous noise of the kingdoms of nations gathered together. The Lord Yahweh of hosts mustered the host of the battle. All right, he's the one gathering these nations. That's why we just quoted those scriptures. They come from a far country, from the end of heaven, even the Lord Yahweh, and the weapons of his indignation. All right, from this radiated tsunami wave making torpedo, the lingering rocket, whatever missile, I don't know. I forget the name of it, the Rextonic, whatever it's called, okay, to China's shape-shifting missile, all the way up to the highest level, which are the nuclear missiles. These are the weapons of the Lord's indignation to destroy the whole land. What land? Babylon the Great, America the West. How ye, for the day of the Lord Yahweh is at hand. It shall come as a destruction from the Almighty. Therefore shall all hands be faint, and every man's heart shall melt. Okay. So yeah, that's pretty much we could probably read some more. But that's all I want to read right there, because the point was there. All right. He's gathering the host of the battle, and that these are the weapons of his indignation, which is his righteous anger. All right, then we're gonna move on. All right, so to the second half of this news clips. Okay, you got judgments. Okay. Actually, I should have got that scripture. I'm gonna get it. Zephaniah 3. Okay, that's a good scripture to get. Because I got some other ones I'm gonna read. But you got an Afghan. No, this is what is this? Yeah, the UPS. There was a UPS plane crash. All right, where people got deleted. You had an Afghan earthquake. People got deleted. All right. You got a typhoon in the Philippines. Okay, people, I think like 66 people got deleted there. And then, of course, we all heard about the recent Hurricane Melissa. All right. And, I think people got deleted there. If not, I just had to double check that one. But we did go into a session the other day mentioning that, and also mentioning those 130 something two people that were deleted. All right. And I forget where it was, but those gang members. All right. So, yeah. So you got, the Lord's judgments also going out. And I want to pull this up. Hopefully I'll forget that Zephaniah. I'm going to pull this up real quick. Luke 21. But when ye shall hear of wars and commotions, be not terrified. Okay, which actually we can read that one along with the last one we talked about, China and Russia. All right, with their their ever advancing weapons, right? Their systems. But when ye shall hear of wars and commotions, be not terrified, for these things must first come to pass. But the end is not by and by. It's not the end yet. Okay, things are going to get worse and worse and worse, but it's not the end yet. Then say he unto them, nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom. And great what? Earthquakes. Recent one in Afghanistan. I think 20 something people got deleted. Earthquakes shall be in diverse different places. And famines. Okay. I think there was a clip about a famine. I didn't grab that one. I didn't even grab that one. Maybe I'll do it because I haven't, made the video yet. Maybe I'll go back and grab that famine. I forget where it was. Sudan, somewhere. There's a famine, all right? Pestilences, diseases, okay? Something about mpox. They keep talking about mpox is gone and mpox is back. Mpox is gone. Now mpox is back again, all right? Pestilences and fearful sights. And great signs shall there be from heaven. All right, we've seen all kinds of things. Okay, which are signs from heavens. Jeremiah 10? Be not dismayed at the signs of heaven, for the heathen are dismayed at them. We understand that a blood moon, I don't know, eclipse or some kind of super moon or a planetary parade alignment or whatever. These things are signs in the heavens that the Lord is real and He's doing something. All right. So yeah, fearful sights and great signs shall there be from heaven. But before all these, well, we don't have to get into that scripture there. It takes us into another topic, all right? But yeah, earthquakes shall be in diverse places, and famines, and pestilences, and fearful sights, and great signs shall there be from heaven, all right? It also says the same thing similar in Matthew 24, but it actually goes on to say all these things are the beginning of sorrows, okay? These are the beginning of the judgments of the Heavenly Father. See, ye shall have wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom. And there shall be famines, and pestilences, and earthquakes in divers places. All these are the beginning of sorrows. But the thing is, who is it going to be sorrowful for? All right, it's going to be sorrowful for the 2/3. Okay, in the heathens. See. It's going to be sorrowful for the 2/3 of the heathens because we already understand what's going on. Okay? We understand that these are judgments from the Lord. What did I just say? Zephaniah? I think I did. Yeah, Zephaniah 3. Oh, another one we can grab. Let me grab right after this. Zephaniah 3 and 5. The just Lord Yahweh is in the midst thereof. He will not do iniquity. Every morning doeth he bring his judgment to light. He faileth not, but the unjust knoweth no shame. See? You either repent to the Lord or he'll deal with you. And if you're a heathen, hey, you just out of there anyways. Is that 4 and 7, I think? Yet remember, I pray thee, whoever perished being innocent, or wherewith the righteous cut off. Whoever perished being innocent. As a matter of fact, I want to see if I can grab one more from Brother Esdras. And all right. He answered me then and said, measure the time diligently in itself, and when thou seest part of the signs pass, which I have told thee before, then shalt thou understand that it is the very same time when the highest will begin to visit the world which he made, which is by what? Wars, rumors of wars, earthquakes, pestilences, famines in diverse places, and other things that are not listed, that were not listed in Matthew 24 and Luke 21. Therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes and uproars of the people, see, there's one of them, uproars of the people. You got riots, chaos all over the earth, in the world. Then shalt thou well understand that the Most High spake of thee those things from the days that were before thee, even from the beginning. For like all that is made in the world hath the beginning and an end, and the end is manifest. Even so the times also of the highest have plain beginnings and wonder and powerful works, and endings in effects and signs. And that's what the Lord is doing, right? He's fixing to close up shop, man, all right? And this is what we basically waited for. This is what the prophets of old waited for, right? For the Lord to restore the kingdom. Okay, take down our enemies and restore the kingdom to the nation of Israel. Okay, and that's going to be to the remnant. The 2/3 will have to be reborn. Okay, but that's what what the prophets have been waiting for the restoration of the kingdom of Israel. And as prophesied by the prophets, even Yahweh shall prophesy, terrible times, Jacob's trouble, Jeremiah 30:7, right? There's a terrible time that has to come on this earth in order for the kingdom to be established, right? So those that are doing right by the Lord, he will protect. But those that are in the Lord's way of his anger, he's going to judge harshly, all right, as seeing these news clips here. So I'm going to leave it at that. Like I said, I had some news earlier, but I deleted it by mistake. So I just wanted to come back and do another one. So that's end of this commentary for this world news session. So Lord, will you edify? Enjoy the rest of the news. Shalom.
All right, and moving on, at least 3 people have died after a UPS cargo plane crashed moments after taking off from Louisville International Airport.
The cause of the crash is under investigation by the Federal Aviation Administration and the U.S. National Transportation Safety Board. Now, the plane was en route Hawaii. Video shared by local broadcaster WLKY appears to show the aircraft left engine on fire as it tried to lift off.
Shit. Holy shit. Holy shit.
Kentucky governor said that the toll is going to rise, with 11 injuries, some very significant, being treated at the local hospitals.
Aerial footage of the crash site shows a long trail of debris as firefighters blast water on the flames, the smoke billowing from the disaster area. And the crash comes amid one of the longest government shutdowns in U.S. history, with Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy warning of mass chaos on Tuesday due to a lack of air traffic control staff.
Now, in a post on social media, Duffy called footage of the crash heartbreaking, urging people to join him in prayers for the Louisville community and flight crew were impacted by the horrific crash.
In the month of January, an American Eagle airliner hit a military Black Hawk outside Washington's Ronald Reagan Airport, killing 67 people. That crash, which ended the U.S. 16-year streak of no fatal commercial air crashes, has added to concerns about the U.S. air traffic control system.
Afghan disaster management officials say the death toll from the powerful earthquake that struck northern parts of the country on Monday has risen to at least 24. About 530 people were also injured in the northern provinces, mainly in Samangan and Balkh, according to the Taliban's administration's Ministry of Public Health. The U.S. Geological Survey estimates that the quake had a magnitude of 6.3 and hit at a depth of 28 kilometers. It destroyed homes, triggered landslides, and blocked key transport routes.
When the earthquake struck, I fell down the stairs from the second floor and ended up on the ground floor.
The military and other emergency personnel are conducting rescue operations. India also has sent relief supplies, including food and medicine. In August, more than 2,200 people died when a magnitude 6.0 quake hit eastern Afghanistan. Authorities in Vietnam say record rainfall that triggered major flooding in central regions has killed at least 40 people, and another 6 are still missing. Cleanup operations were underway on Tuesday in the ancient city of Hue. Soldiers used mops to disperse the muddy water. More than 1.7 meters of rain fell in just 24 hours in Hue last week. That's the most ever recorded in the country. Residents of the UNESCO-listed town of Hue An say they've never experienced flooding on this scale. Local business owners are desperate to reopen.
We have to keep trying. This is our livelihood. We've invested so much already, and giving up now isn't an option. We have to fight for it.
According to state-run media, Typhoon Kalmegi is expected to make landfall in central Vietnam later this week. The government has instructed relevant organizations to be fully prepared. The only survivor of the Air India crash that killed 241 people on board has spoken to British media months after the tragedy. He talked about his struggle with trauma and said even though he survived, he lost everything.
Still, I'm not believe. I'm only one survivor.
The plane bound for London crashed in June shortly after taking off from an airport in the western Indian city of Ahmedabad. A total of 260 people died, including 19 on the ground and all those on board, except Vishwashakumar Ramesh.
It is very painful for me to explain that happened still. I can't say anything about that now.
The British national of Indian origin was returning home with his younger brother. They'd been running their family business in India together, but it collapsed after the accident.
I lost everything. My brother, for me. I lost my brother, innit?
Ramesh has struggled with post-traumatic stress disorder. He says he avoids talking to people, even his wife and 4-year-old son. India's aviation authorities said in a preliminary report that the switches controlling fuel flow to the engines had moved to the cutoff position, causing them to lose thrust. And that wraps up our bulletin. I'm Razan Double.
Our next story is from the Philippines. A powerful typhoon has left parts of the country underwater. It is called Kalmegi. It has turned roads into rivers and cities into lakes. Cars have been swept away and shipping containers have floated through the streets. The storm made landfall late Monday night, and the rains have been relentless ever since. At least 26 people have lost their lives. Hundreds and thousands have been forced to flee. Coast Guard teams are evacuating stranded residents. But amid those efforts, a military helicopter has crashed. The Philippines has already faced multiple storms this year, and Kalmegi is the latest to test the country's resilience. Here's a report with more.
The Philippines is once again facing the fury of nature. Typhoon Kalmegi has swept across the central parts of the country. It has flooded towns, torn down power lines, and cut off entire communities. The storm made landfall late Monday night with winds of 150 kilometers per hour. In some areas, gusts exceeded 200 kilometers an hour. By Tuesday morning, streets, farms, and homes were submerged. In just a few hours, whole neighborhoods were underwater. The damage stretched across the central provinces, where floodwaters rose faster than anyone expected. Cars and shipping containers were swept away. People escaped to rooftops and waited for rescue. At least 26 people are confirmed dead. Most victims were caught in flash floods. Hundreds of thousands have been displaced. Many are now in temporary shelters run by local authorities and aid groups. The Coast Guard has been leading the rescue effort. Teams are moving through submerged streets with boats and trucks. More than 300,000 people were evacuated before landfall, but rescue operations are still underway. Several towns remain isolated after bridges collapsed and roads were cut off by flooding. Rescue work has been hampered by debris and strong currents. Flights and ferry services remain suspended. Power and phone networks are down in several areas. Relief workers say food, clean water, and medicine are now the priority. During one relief mission, a military helicopter crashed in northern Mindanao Island. The Super Huey helicopter was delivering supplies when it crashed. 5 personnel were on board. Search and recovery teams are continuing to look for survivors. Even as rescue efforts continue, weather officials say Kalmegi is now moving west over the South China Sea. It has weakened, but still poses a threat to countries like Vietnam, where it could make landfall later this week. Vietnam has also issued warnings for coastal provinces and asked fishing boats to return to port. The Philippines faces about 20 tropical storms every year. Kalmegi is reportedly the 20th storm this year. Just weeks ago, Typhoon Ragasa battered the country. It tore roofs off buildings and uprooted trees. Now, Kalmegi has added to a growing list of disasters this year for the country. Meteorologists say warmer seas are fueling stronger, wetter systems. They are bringing heavier rain and faster flooding. Experts warn that successive storms are giving communities less time to recover. For now, parts of the country remain underwater. Rescue teams are still at work. Power lines are being repaired, and thousands of families are waiting to return home. Authorities say recovery will take time. Kalmegi has moved on, but its impact will be felt long after the waters recede.